So Andrew Yang went on Tucker Carlson's show. He's promoting his new third party called the Forward Party. And some of the little parts of this are true, but by and large, I think this is a swing and a miss. And I'll explain why after you watch.
It seems less the party of working people than it ever has been.
I was taken aback by just how negative a reaction the Democratic Party got among working class people that, again, it's supposed to be fighting for. And I think this is a fundamental problem that I've been essentially begging the Democratic Party to try and get its arms around and make progress on. I spent months in Iowa and Ohio to a lesser extent, and these are states where Democrats were very competitive recently.
Oh, yeah.
And now they are much, much less competitive. And it's in large part because of what I described in that clip, where people don't associate the Democratic Party with real economic solutions that are going to make your life better. It's more around various cultural issues that aren't as core to people's way of life, in my opinion.
So I'm 52, so I've seen all of this change, and I've never been a Democrat, and I've always criticized them, probably in some ways unfairly looking back on it. My views have changed dramatically. But when I think of the Democratic Party in the fall of 2021, I think of a party that is run by and for a small group of affluent, unmarried, childless, white liberals in the city who don't have economic concerns, so they don't talk about economics, who are totally narcissistic, who only want to talk about themselves, i.e. their identities, and whatever, sexual interest they have, like completely disconnected from the concerns of anybody. And it's this group, young, affluent, white liberals in Williamsburg. That's my mental picture. There's no group I personally dislike more, I'll just be honest with you. But it does seem like their concerns have a disproportionate effect on the policies of the party.
It's one reason I enjoyed spending time in Iowa and Ohio and want to orient the Democratic Party toward the problems in those environments, because the problems you'll hear in those towns are very real and very different, around farmers committing suicide and towns that are drying up. And that's where I think our energies and attention should be. I think it's one.
So here's my issue with what we just saw there. The conversation is about, well, the Democratic Party is not the party of workers anymore. Yang said, quote, people don't associate the Democratic Party with real economic solutions that are going to make their lives better. And then Tucker goes off about how, the real thing is they're all about social issues. They're all about identity politics. They're all about wealthy white liberals. And listen, that criticism is half true. It's half true. A lot of the commentary is focused on social issues and identity politics, and that group does have an outsized influence in the direction of the party overall. However, it is massively ironic that at the same time they're talking about how the Democratic Party is not the party of workers anymore and people don't associate the Democratic Party with real economic solutions. What bill are we currently waiting to hopefully get passed with our fingers crossed? The Build Back Better agenda, as it's called, $3.5 trillion reconciliation package, which includes child tax benefit, universal pre-K, paid family leave, paid medical leave, tuition-free community college, lower prescription drug costs, dental, hearing, and vision Medicare expansion, housing, home care, major climate money, lower Medicare age, Obamacare expansion, taxes raised on the wealthy. So, in other words, I have my criticisms of the Democratic Party. But you can't have the conversation you just had and omit the main bill that we're currently discussing and negotiating and that the Democrats are trying to get passed. And 2 Democratic senators are blocking it. Two. So that means the overwhelming majority of the Democrats in the Senate and the overwhelming majority of Democrats in the House are currently addressing economic concerns, are currently fighting for working people on this front. Now, again, I don't think they fight for working people enough. I think we need Medicare for all. That's a great example. I think we need universal basic income. That's another great example. I can go on where I think their policies fall short. They're not taxing capital. They're only taxing the income of the wealthy. So in other words, billionaires will still get away with paying next to nothing. The corporate tax rate isn't being raised near enough. So I have my criticisms, but you cannot have this conversation at this current political moment and omit a key major fact that indeed the Democrats are fighting on the front of helping workers. They are. They are putting forward an economic agenda. They are. It's not like Joe Biden proposed a bill on everybody must use the pronoun Z because I say so. And that's what Tucker's pretending like it is. And then the other point is, and this one also pisses me off just as much, you can't have the conversation about, oh, the Democratic Party isn't the party of workers and they're not fighting for real economic solutions, and say Dickie McGeezax about the Republican Party. What are they doing right now, Tucker? What are they doing? Are they the ones who propose universal pre-K and free college and a child tax credit? Are they the ones who want to expand Medicare? Are they the ones who propose a slate of policies that are helping the workers? No. They're out there talking about Dr. Seuss and screaming about culture war issues and prodding us to get back in Afghanistan. 20-year war that Biden just got us out of. And so to Yang and to Tucker, this is a wildly misleading conversation. Wildly misleading. Now, I get it. I understand what Yang is trying to do. He doesn't want his forward party to be a partisan thing. He already said you could remain a Democrat, you can remain a Republican, and run as a forward party person or have the endorsement of the forward party as long as you support ranked choice voting, as long as you support open primaries, as long as you support UBI. I get what he's trying to do. He wants to also attract right-wing people along with left-wing people. But that doesn't give you a free pass to have a wildly misleading conversation. Democratic Party is definitely not the party of workers. The implication is what? The Republicans are better? They said nothing about the Republicans there. Why do the Republicans get a free pass for their Dr. Seuss bullshit and wanting to get us back in war and not proposing anything to help working families? And the Democrats don't even get a mention of the current bill that they're fighting to get implemented when it does help working people. Child tax benefit, universal pre-K, paid family leave, paid medical leave, tuition-free community college, lower prescription drug costs. I'm not making this up. This is what's in the fucking bill. So that's what pisses me off. So Yang goes on to play patty cakes with Tucker and has a wildly misleading conversation. Again, the core criticism is one I share, but the nuance is important. You can't just brush over the nuance and pretend like you're keeping it real. It's the opposite. You're not keeping it real. The nuance would be keeping it real. Do Democrats fall short? You bet your ass they fall short. They absolutely fall short. But way better than the Republicans, and there wasn't a mention of how the Republicans don't fight for workers, and there wasn't a mention of the actual agenda which would help workers that's currently being fought for. So on this front, Andrew Yang, I don't know what you're doing, but it's absolutely pathetic.